If you think being poor is the same as being a holy saint, if you think poverty equals being close to Allah, you're mistaken. Poverty does not make someone pious by default. In fact, poverty can push people away from faith. When money is lacking, what often grows inside people is hopelessness, and that can lead them away from belief. Look at our context. Who do you see praying consistently or staying grounded in faith? Often it's people working multiple minimum wage jobs, fast food workers, delivery drivers, those struggling to make ends meet. And who do you see sitting comfortably, avoiding responsibility? Those living off others' support or inherited wealth. Don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying the poor can't be pious. But poverty makes it much harder to learn, participate in religious life, and maintain dignity. Many struggling people don't even have time to attend their local mosque or religious gatherings. They're too busy surviving and often lack access or awareness to structure their lives around faith. Left unchecked, financial hardship can distance people from Islam. We must fight poverty. Imam Ali, may Allah be pleased with him, said something striking. If poverty were a person, he would have put that person to death, not as an encouragement to violence, but to stress how destructive poverty is. Poverty prevents people from living dignified lives. It harms families, it prevents children from learning, and it destroys communities. Islam never glorified being poor as a virtue in itself. Don't celebrate poverty, overcome it. Some people show an outward appearance of piety, a torn shirt pulled up to the knees, begging in the streets. And we assume that means they are very spiritual. But external signs don't always equal spiritual excellence. The Prophet, peace be upon him, and the early Muslims taught balance. Don't let worldly affairs control you, but don't reject the dunya either. They were practical. They lived with resources and used those resources for the sake of Allah. Khadija bint Khuwaylid, may Allah be pleased with her, was wealthy. She supported the Prophet, peace be upon him, and the early dawah with her resources. She was not a pauper. She had wealth and she used it for good. Look at the companions. Among the 10 promised paradise, 9 were businessmen. Abu Bakr, may Allah be pleased with him, was a successful man who set many slaves free using his wealth. Umar, may Allah be pleased with him, was a businessman of incredible standing. Uthman, may Allah be pleased with him, was famously wealthy. Abdurrahman ibn Auf became one of the richest in Medina through business and then used his wealth to support Islam. These men were not ashamed of wealth. They used it to build the deen. Their wealth was a tool, not their God. If you think that having little money makes you more religious, we need to challenge that idea. Poverty can push people away from the masjid, from learning, and from worship. That's why you must fight poverty in your life. Not by becoming greedy, but by becoming capable, by earning honestly, building businesses, and creating opportunities. Some may ask, is it okay to pursue wealth? Yes, but earn it in halal ways. The Prophet's companions were both devout and productive. The point is, when you earn lawful wealth, it strengthens your iman. It enables you to give zakat, to fund institutions, and to support the community. If you simply sit and beg, you'll never build mosques or schools, you'll never hire teachers or fund dawah. Muslims must become producers, not only consumers. Think about the practical effects at home. When you have lawful income, you can buy good clothes for prayer, you can smell good, you can feel dignified going to the masjid. Your family eats well, children study, your spouse is not stressed. When you return home after earning, you are in a better mood. You can focus on worship, and family poverty forces many into despair. Wealth, used rightly, gives space for good deeds. Who will build the mosques? Who will fund the madrasas? If Muslims don't have money, who will? The answer is others will, often non-Muslims. If we are only consumers, buying others' products and making them rich, we become their servants, we become their dependents. Islam asks us to be owners and managers of our own destiny, to produce, to trade, to build, and to fund religious and social institutions. You might hear people say, we will just migrate to Europe or America. We will live there and practice Islam. But that is not the solution. Migrating doesn't guarantee a better practice of deen. In many cases, Muslims go abroad and still struggle, morally and materially. We have to change our condition here and become people of dignity in our own lands. Build here, invest here. Be proud to stay and transform your society. Historically, Muslim traders carried Islam far and wide. They reached Southeast Asia not by planes but by ships. They sold goods, and along with their goods, they brought their character, their faith, their hospitality. Merchants invited people to Islam through their conduct. Business people built bridges between cultures and spread the message organically. That's how Islam reached many lands, through commerce and good character. So who are the real builders of society? The businessmen. They earn, partly for themselves, but also to spend on the deen, on charities, on education. Beware of becoming someone who only chases profit for greed. You must know why you earn. One reason is to provide for yourself and your family. The other, and equally important reason, is to strengthen your community and to support deen. If you earn but never spend on beneficial causes, your money does you no good in the sight of Allah. Look back at history. The great scholars, Imam Abu Hanifa, Imam Shafi'i, Imam Malik, Imam Bukhari, many of them were supported by a society that had resources. The Muslim civilization produced architecture, engineering, medicine, chemistry, physics, and much knowledge. Muslims gave the world vast contributions. Hospitals, medical systems, think of Ibn Sina, chemistry, algebra, optics, Al-Hazen, Jabir ibn Hayyan. European advancements later built on what Muslim scholars developed centuries earlier. But look at us now. We have neglected industry and knowledge. We became consumers. We must change. Don't be naive. Being rich doesn't mean sin. Being wealthy in halal ways is an opportunity. Be wealthy, but let your heart belong to Allah. Keep your wealth in your hands, but keep Allah in your heart. Then you can lead. You can fund businesses, build factories, develop supply chains, create jobs, pay for skilled training, and establish markets. You must develop industries. Agriculture alone is not enough. You need factories, veterinary services, supply chains, and professional management. That's how a healthy economy is built. The Prophet was told to prepare for the day of battle. Prepare the stables, build the economy, have resources ready. Economic strength is part of community strength. You should aim to be both, a person of faith and a person of means. Not to hoard, not to worship wealth, but to use it. When the Ummah has resources, it can build schools, hospitals, mosques, libraries, and institutions that will preserve its identity and spread its knowledge. Our ancestors ruled large parts of the world for centuries. Why? Because they were organized, they had knowledge, and they had industry. They influenced architecture, engineering, and science across continents. We can do the same again if we reclaim that spirit. Be practical, don't be lazy. Every second counts. Work for this world and the next simultaneously. Don't become an ascetic who abandons society, nor a hedonist who forgets the hereafter Islam asks for balance. Omar ibn al-Khattab, may Allah be pleased with him, had enormous worldly power and yet stood in tahajjud and cried before Allah. He looked after the poor, the travelers, even the animals on the banks of the Euphrates. His standard was that nothing under his watch should go hungry. That's an ethics of responsibility. You must become that kind of person, a responsible, resourceful, faithful leader. When you have wealth, don't let it corrupt your heart. Let it be a means. Keep Allah in your heart and your wealth in your hands. Use it to free people from poverty. Build a masjid, fund a madrasa, sponsor 10 students, endow teachers. Don't wait for others to give. Take initiative. Don't turn the Muslim community into beggars expecting handouts. Become the one who gives. We have a legacy of greatness. Muslim scholars and traders changed the world. They brought engineering, medicine, architecture, and knowledge that shaped Europe and beyond. If we embrace learning, industry, and honorable trade, the world can again feel the impact of a vibrant Muslim civilization. But that requires discipline, education, entrepreneurship, and sincere devotion. So, act now. Learn a skill. Start a business honestly. Invest in your community. Fund education. Train people in supply chain management, veterinary science, manufacturing, and trade. Don't be content just to consume. Create, innovate, build institutions that last. Keep your heart fixed on Allah while your hands manage resources for the benefit of others. If you do this, if you become a capable, faithful, generous community, then you will not flee to foreign lands hoping for dignity. You will stay, you will fix, and you will lead. You will regain honor and influence. You will be the owners and managers of your destiny rather than the servants of someone else's industry. Wake up. You must be wealthy in means and rich in taqwa. Let the dunya serve the deen. Build, produce, teach, and invest. That is how our ummah will be restored. Not by begging, not by sentimentality, but by hard work, honorable earnings, and sincere devotion to Allah.